Hello everybody. Today I'm going to show you how to use enumerations in a very basic way with C#. So first thing I'll do is I'll go ahead and open up a new project. So remember when we make a C# program in Visual Studio, we go under Templates, Visual C#, Windows, Console Application. At least that's what I'll be doing today. So we'll name it 12 Days of Christmas. And then once that opens up, we'll have our little program here. So what we'll do is we'll first start off by making our enum, or enumeration. We'll call it 12 days. So what this enum and program is going to do is it's going to be able to take a list of object types that we give it here in a second, and a user is going to ask, well, what happens on the 7th day of Christmas, or something like that, and it's going to output, the line from the song, exactly what happens. So we'll go ahead and make our enum. So making the enum always goes before the class. So you'll name it enum. It should always start with a capital letter, and it should have some squirrely brackets with it. So we'll just go ahead and start to do this. First day is partridge in a pear tree. We always separate our items inside of the enumeration with a comma. So second one is turtle doves, and 3 is French hens, and then once we get to the edge of our screen, we can hit enter and continue on a second line, just so we don't have a really long line. Oops. We'll go here. Alright, and note how I don't put a comma after the last object. So we count here, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Okay, so with an enumeration, and much like arrays, they have positions. The position, as we know in programming in general, typically starts at 0 and counts up by 1 each position. So a partridge in a pear tree right now has a position of 0. Turtle doves 1, French hens 2, all the way to Lords of Leaping at position 11. We don't really want that. We know Lords of Leaping, there is no day 0 of Christmas. Lords of Leaping is day 12, so we want Lords of Leaping to equal 12. How we do that is we can change the position, which is nice about enumerations. So we can set partridge in a pear tree to position 1. So every position after that will sequentially reflect our change here. So now, partridge in a pear tree is 1, turtle doves is 2, French hens is 3. Because we made this one change here in the beginning, everything afterwards is going to reflect that. Now you can go in and individually give everything its own position, but for this example we won't need to. So let's go ahead and in our main method see how we can get this to work and output. I'm just going to put a console read line in there so our command prompt doesn't leave. So we'll do a console dot write line, okay? And the way we output a position from an enumeration is simply this. In parentheses, you put your enum or enumeration, and on directly to the right of it, you put your int position, okay? So the enum or enumeration is going to be whatever you named it up here. So 12 days. So let's go ahead and start this. We want to write a line. We put 12 days in there, okay? And our position. So let's say we want position 1, just to make sure that our enum is working correctly. So we'll go ahead and run this. So as you can see here, that we are writing a line, partridge in a pear tree. So we know partridge in a pear tree is position 1, and then it's in the 12 days enum. So that's how that works. Nice and fancy, super easy. It's not really, it's kind of odd syntax, but you know, it's different from normal things. But other than that, it's, you know, pretty simple. So like I said, we want this program to allow users to ask it, well, what happens on this day of Christmas? What happens on this day of Christmas? So let's get a little user input here. Alright. What day of Christmas would you like to know about? Okay. Then what we'll do is we need this user to give us a day of Christmas. Well, we know that we have our 12 positions up here. So we probably want them to enter in a number between 1 and 12. So we'll let them know by just putting 1 through 12 in there. That should imply that we want an integer between 1 and 12. So we know we want an integer, so let's create an int. And we'll name it day of Christmas, okay? Equals, and we know we want them to give it to us. We know we can do that by console.readLine. Okay. But if you look here, we get an error when we do that. Well, it says it cannot implicitly convert type string to int. So when we do console.readLine, this gives us whatever the user is going to input as a string. And we're telling it we want an int. So we need to convert this string into an int. The way we do that in C# is convert.toInt32, and then we go ahead and wrap our console.readLine in that. So now we are converting our string that the user is going to give us to an int, and then storing that int into a variable called day of Christmas. So we'll go ahead, and we're almost done, so we'll go ahead and just take this now and change our int position to day of Christmas, because that's what we want. And let's go ahead and just try it, make sure it works. So what day of Christmas would you like to know about? 5 gold rings. Okay, so now it just tells us what that position is. So we know 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 gold rings. Let's go ahead and give it some formatting real quick. On the blank day of Christmas, my true love gave to me blank blank period. Okay. So what do we want our 0 to be on the blank day of Christmas? Well, we know they're giving us that, so we'll just put simply day of Christmas. And 1, the first position of our formatting will be the actual, you know, enumeration object. So let's go ahead and play this real quick. Say we want the 5th day of Christmas. Now it'll say on the 5th day of Christmas, my true love gave to me 5 gold rings. And we can try this real quick with 12, and we get Lords of Leaping, and we'll make sure 1 works as well. So there we go. So now you have a program that will output what happens on the day of Christmas according to the song. So just a quick recap. Remember, you create an enumeration outside of the class, typically right above it. You want to name it with a typical class naming convention, which means Camelback with the first letter being capital. You go ahead and add items to it, comma delimited, and you can give them specific positions, and you call them by putting the enumeration inside of parentheses with the position you want on the right hand side. I hope this is helpful for everyone. Have a wonderful night.